Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new YouTube video. We are super excited to be joined with Miss Anna Vieira. Super excited. We have, haven't been on for a little while, but we are back. We've been super busy. Anna's been super busy with all her things. I've been super busy with all my stuff going on, but we are back and we are super excited. Today, we are going to be talking a little bit about AI. Management structures, as well as the smaller to medium sized cleaning contracts. So, Anna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. How are you? I miss you.
I know, I miss you too. I'm doing good. But me and Anna were always texting all the time, so I feel like whenever we jump on a call a couple months later or we're doing a video, I feel like we were just talking yesterday.
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna, like I said earlier, we're gonna talk about AI management and like small to medium contracts. So first, we wanted to start off by saying thank you to everyone who has sent us messages. We've been getting a lot of messages, and these have been the three requested topics. And then Anna's been taking phone calls recently, and a lot of people have been asking her questions. So thank you, Anna, for giving everyone your time. She's been answering some really crucial questions that people have been having with their business. So, Anna, thanks for doing that.
No problem. I think when we talk about contracts, right? Let's start with the contracts. It is normal when we open business, like we have this big thing to be successful. We think about like big business contracts, right? But often we don't think about liability. It's very important when you open a business, that you have your business, you need to learn how to walk before you run, right? Sometimes it's not because it is a big contract, it's a big money, means that you're going to make it and you're going to make a lot of money. All those contracts, sometimes the bigger the contract, the headache it is a contract. Sometimes, or majority of the time, it is good for you to have small contracts to major contracts. Don't think about, oh my gosh, it's only $600, $700. You're going to be surprised. Many of those contracts is going to generate you more money in the future. I had different contracts. I had a contract. My second contract when I had my cleaning company was for $50 to clean their office every week. And the office was very small, $50. A year later, I didn't even know what the company was about. Then I found out that the company was about they buy properties and they, like they renovate and they sell it. And then they start hiring my services to clean those houses, post construction. So from $50, that became $50,000 or more a year. So you never underestimate the little contract or medium contract, right? A lot of things with the medium and small contract is very manageable for you to find the people that work for you, right? Also to um, be very well knowing how you're gonna charge your clients. You never can forget this, okay? Every contract that you have, doesn't matter how small they are, how big they are, you're supposed to be able to pay the people that work for you, pay the expenses of that project, pay a percentage of your overhead cost, and make a profit. Every contract should be sustainable. Okay? So if you, that's why it's important for you to have the minimal charge, right? Minimum charge is a minimum amount of money that you're gonna open your eyelids in the morning and go to work. You're not gonna accept a contract for $50, but your minimum could be $200, right? But that $200, you're supposed to sustain that project, pay the people that work for that project, and also make a profit. Okay? Sometimes the large projects that you have to have a lot of people, right? You need to pretty much know how to beat, the cost of that project because you're gonna compete with the other companies. However, a lot of those big contractors, they don't stay forever. maybe 2 years, 3 years, and it's not big guarantee they're gonna give you the contract back. They might have somebody else with a better price, and then you lose your revenue right there.
Absolutely. Anna, that was really good information. Like I was taking all that in as you were talking because it's all so true. So, um I was just talking to Anna before this call about actually one of my smaller contracts that we were doing when we were just starting. The contract was not worth much at all, but when you're just getting started, you kind of just take on anything. You know, and anyways, as we grew, we understood that, you can't just bid cheap. You have to be able to encounter all of your things, your payroll taxes, insurance, supplies, and you need to come up with a formula that works for your company. My formula that I use in my company could be something completely different, but pretty similar to other people. Obviously, covering your payroll tax, insurance, supplies, and as well as profit, right? That's the most important thing. But my numbers, my labor, and what state you're in might be completely different. So if I tell you my formula of how we price, it could be completely different than you because so many people ask me, Dave, what's the way you do it? Well, first of all, number one, how much are you paying? Number two, how long does your cleaners take in each of your buildings? I know how long my cleaners take in each task, and that's considered your cleanable time. So how long does your cleaners take in each task? So the restrooms, vacuuming, mopping, cleaning the windows, everything in between. You need to know these things because that's going to help you price these jobs as well. If you don't know how long your crew is taking or yourself, I think the best way to do it is time yourself cleaning a restroom. How long does it take you to clean a bathroom? How long does it take you to vacuum? Then it will give you a better understanding and have expectation and standards across the board with your team members that your cleaner shouldn't take any longer than this. And also give them some grace, right? Sometimes the restrooms might be a little bit dirtier. Sometimes they will use all the consumables that day. All the soap will be empty. All the toilet paper will be empty. So you've got to keep in mind those things, right? Some of the days, a lot of our accounts that get cleaned every day, it's a pretty easy, go in, clean the restrooms, restock consumables, vacuum, mop, general dusting. And then maybe that once a week, I expect more of a deeper cleaning, right? But sometimes they might have a board meeting. They might have people from out of town coming in for a huge meeting and all the paper towels are gone, all the toilet paper. It just depends on the facility and how much, traffic they're getting. But where I'm getting at this is one of my smaller clients, like I mentioned earlier, they ended up having two locations, very small warehouses that we were cleaning. We were just doing their bathrooms and offices. Well, we've been doing them for years, and it's just one of those clients I haven't gotten rid of because they haven't complained, my ladies haven't complained, and we've just kept on doing it. Well, anyways, 2 years ago they moved to a new space and they moved to a two-story office building, over 100,000 square foot full of space, which they grew over the years, and we grew over the years. So it was very cool to see, this small contract that we're doing become one of our large contracts. Like we now are servicing them every day. They get full service on both levels. They have elevator. They have a big building, right? Um, and this is not just, I was just giving you an example, but I probably have at least 12 to 15 contracts that started like this. They started off with one small place, or they just started with just getting their bathrooms and kitchens and trash done, and the contract grew. I have so many contracts that have grew over the years because businesses change. Every year there's growth, there's new people coming in. There's so much that could happen in a year. So just because a contract is only worth 600, 1,200 a month, it will grow. It might not grow right now, but maybe down the road it will grow. Or sometimes, the companies will end up closing down, whatever the case is. But where me and Anna are trying to get at with this is take those smaller contracts, start go use those contracts as leverage. Use those contracts to get experience, use those contracts to grow, right? So many of us are just focused on those 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, and more contracts a month. Well, I'm going to tell you, these smaller contracts, they add up. They add up. I can tell you from experience, they can add up. Like I said, a lot of my clients start off small and they grow. So we just wanted to tell people and emphasize, just go after, the contracts that make sense for your company. And some
Another
people,
a-
go ahead. Yeah,
another
yeah.
thing another thing it is, a lot of times, sometimes within a contract, the vice presidents, the CEO, they end up hire services to other places as well, right? Because they have something going on. I had a vice president, one of the companies that I used to work, I used to clean, and her daughter used to work for the Wizards, for the NBAs. So I got a huge contract cleaning the players' home, right? So yeah, sometimes what is small like us, right? We are small. Sometimes we're gonna become bigger, and we're gonna take with us the people that we trust.
I 100% agree. And I remember when you got that contract. That's awesome. And that just goes to show you like how much trust they put into Anna. Like her and her crew were very trustworthy to get a contract like that. And this is going to shift into the next thing I wanted to talk about is, you know, you've got to consistently show up. You've got to consistently show results across the board. People do not want a service provider that's just going to get the contract, send whoever, contract it to whoever, whatever the case is. They want to see the owner's face, even if you're not the one cleaning. Stop in, check in, see how the cleaning's going.
Let me tell
You
you something. You said something so right now, and I'm so glad that you taught in this subject. I'm so glad that you talk about this, because I'm telling you, this same contract that I told you, right, about the players, right? So she was the vice president of this company. And I'm telling you, all my clients, I used to have a personal relationship, right? No, they had my personal cell phone and everything. I remember that I had few employees, few contractors at the time that made mistakes. They were very rude, but they didn't take that personally against my company, right? Because they knew who I was, right? They took that, okay, that that was the employee's fault, was not the fault. And that it is a saver, because when you show up in your face to your clients, and they know who you are and what you stand for, they would have your back.
absolutely. There's been many times, obviously at a cleaning business, there's always going to be something that gets broken. I mean, no matter how hard you try, not dusting pictures on the wall, the picture falls. Um, things fall, you're touching and you're moving things and things break, right? But it's how you handle that situation. For example, we have a dental office, a giant dental office, and our ladies go into all the exam rooms and they lift up and they wipe all this up and organize and put it back. Well, one of the little hand mirrors had fallen on the floor, and we had let the owner know, which we have a great relationship with. And we let him know, oh, hey, they broke, your hand mirror. I'm going to get a replacement for you. The owner says, do not worry about it. Well, I think that that's wrong, and I want to still take care of it for him. So I went ahead and we bought him extra. We went and got him more. And that also built trust with the customer. They know that if something happens or something breaks, that they're not just going to leave it behind the closed door and that someone else comes to find it. My cleaners could have easily thrown the mirror away and probably wouldn't even have known. But my cleaners have been trained to, implemented. We have systems in place in our company. When something breaks in our company, they go ahead and let the manager know, and they let our front office know, so we're able to communicate. And it's stuff like that that you need to do in your business so customers can trust you over time. It takes time for customers to trust you. And I want to tell another good example about trusting people in their spaces that mean a lot to them, right? Their offices, accounting offices that you're cleaning. I mean, offices that are very secure. That I would have a hard time trusting people as well. So when customers start to trust you, it's different. I had a customer, and I'm going to get into this. I'm going to make it this long story short, but I had a customer for about, probably at this point almost close to 10 years now. Very very good client of ours. They started off, they've had three terrible experiences with three different cleaning companies. They were all national chains. And they did not trust them with their keys. So they would make the cleaning crew come in right at 5 o'clock. And the manager would wait until they're done to lock up because they've had theft. They've had checks stolen in their office. They've had all this stuff with the other cleaning companies. Well, we consistently showed up for the last 10 years to this customer. But 5 years into our relationship with them, she said, Dave, she's like, I know you guys do this place, that place, this place, and my friend uses you here, and I know that they have a lot of expensive things. We trust you with the keys. And I said, you know, it doesn't matter to us if you would prefer to stay here while our ladies come in and clean, or if you would like to give us keys and alarm code, that is up to you. I tell everyone, we clean the same. If you're there, if you're not there, we don't care. We know everyone has cameras. If they do, they don't. We don't care. We clean the same. I have some customers that leave hundreds and thousands of dollars of cash sitting out. I have people that leave checks sitting. At the end of the day, our job and our responsibility as their professional cleaning company is to come in, clean their office top to bottom, and leave and not hear anything. The only time I hear from my clients is when there is an issue, or if I stop in at a customer's facility randomly and I say, "Hey, Meredith, how are you doing? It's been a long time," and I just talk to her and see how they're doing and see how the cleaning's going. But I never, I never just not see the customer after the transaction's done. You always want, and Anna can probably touch on this too, you always want to show your face. And if it's not you as the owner showing the face, then you having a designated person in your office that is constantly building that relationship with the client over the years to be gain that trust of the client. And like Anna said earlier, it's not just the cleaners, right? When something happens with the cleaners, they want to be able to go to someone and they want to be able to talk to someone. um they don't want to just not have any kind of community. They don't want, a lot of these people, they want that relationship. They don't just want, oh, it's the cleaning crew. They want that relationship. Can you add anything, Anna?
We, as the world evolves, right? We are become very impersonal. What I'm trying to say is we are not in touch anymore as humans, right? We have our phones that are taking our attention away. Now we have AI and everything else. And if you look, I don't know if you people have time, right? But for me, I'm like 52 years old. As you get older, right? You starting value things in your life that is not about money, but things that money cannot buy. As your life gets shortened, you start looking at things with different eyes. We live in a world right now that is doing this to us, right? You sit on a table with somebody, people are looking at their phones, right? They are very impersonal. When you take your time to go talk to your client, to call them, send them message, that shows that you care, right? I'm gonna give an example. I hate call my bank and when they send me to AI, somebody talking that I know that is not a human being, or somebody on another country that have no idea what's going on. That piss me the shit of my pennies, right?
Or when you constantly are call, or if you call about the same reason and then they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, and they send you to this person and that person and this person, and you're like, how do they not know my problem?
Exactly. And I think that as a business owners, we can make the difference when you show up, right? There is a lot of fake businesses right now, especially cleaning business, claim to be having a business, and that person is just sitting out there, right, collecting money, but they are not interact with the business, with the owners. So make a difference and make sure that you are active owner of a company, right? Many of us want to be like, not me, but many of us want to be like, like Jeff Bezos. You have a yacht and your business, is going well. Listen, the reality that is going to happen is very is small, right? I prefer to have a business that I have my name on it and I have a reputation that everybody knows that I care, that I'm just there for the money, right? You should be there not only for the money, but because you care what you're doing, right? So, and this is what lead us a little bit about AI, right? Because people like AI, what is AI? It has to be with the cleaning business, right? Many people are like, AI cannot clean homes, cannot clean, um, places, right? Those kind of business, because it's a labor business, right? We are safe. Not really. I'm gonna just let's start talk a little bit about AI. Now
Absolutely.
everybody's pushing this, right, to us, right? And I think that unfortunately this country we are very reactive to things, but colleges didn't prepare us to this. The government or companies didn't invest on training, but this monster is here. Unfortunately, it's here with the wrong reasons, right? Because you see a lot of the big companies, corporations invest a lot of money. They want their return to the investment. But we don't know how this is going to affect us, how the pros and cons of this, and how it's going to affect us in our environment, right? The only thing that I know it is that a lot of people are losing jobs. When people lose jobs, they're not going to hire clean services to clean their homes, right? If a lot of people are losing their jobs and AI is doing their jobs, we're not going to have office to clean, right? Or people are not going to buy homes because they are unemployed. We have to be careful how we embrace those kind of technology, because we should not use AI to replace human beings. We should use AI as a tool, right? And cleaning business, we can use AI, okay, to answer phone calls, right? That is, if you don't have a secretary, you can use. But eventually, what we do, if we don't careful, is gonna affect us, because people without jobs, they're not gonna request our services.
I agree 100%. And back to what you were saying a little bit about the phones. Like, even with the phones, like, I think it's so not personal not having someone answer the phone. I understand that some of these companies get a large call volume and they need to have something like that, but maybe you consider, yes, have AI answer, the phone as like, "Hi, thank you for calling DCC Commercial Janitorial, Baltimore, Maryland." Okay, that's great, but why don't you have the phone connect to someone in your office, right? Or if you don't have an office, maybe connect to you or something. I understand we're trying to automate everything, but especially the cleaning business. And I'm going to tell you, I've been doing this for 11 years, and Anna can probably speak on this too. You know, people like to get to know who's behind the scenes. They want to know. They want to know who owns the company. They like that. When customers talk to me, I mean, I don't answer the phone right off the bat, but when I do go out and meet with the customers, I'm going to say the customers love it. They absolutely love. They're like I think I was one of the I'm going to go back just last week. I was at an estimate and they said I'm the first owner to come out, the first owner to come out. The other three companies, and this office was huge. This office was huge, and we did end up closing on it too. And one of the reasons is they liked my involvement in the company. Three other companies that came out, not one owner came out, not even a manager. They all had just random people that just come in and do. They didn't even know anything about the cleaning service. They were just there to get the contract signed. They had no idea. They didn't even know some of the stuff about the clean. They didn't even know what consumables were. Three of the companies, they did like a group estimate, and then they still didn't like the companies that came out, so then they called us. Then, because the president asked one of their friends, and the friend uses their office, so then they're like, I don't know why we didn't do that off the start. But anyways, yeah, three of the companies came out with their iPads, and they're taking notes. And so the customer tells the three companies, we want all the consumables filled. And they all look at her like, what's that? That is just embarrassing. Some of these companies aren't even trained on basic cleaning things. Like, and and the lady asked, what kind of chemicals, what kind of equipment are you going to be using? Oh, we're going to be using a vacuum. Like some of these customers, I mean, the customer should not know more than you about the cleaning. The cleaning company should be
Exactly.
the expert in the cleaning industry. And I'm going
Exactly.
to tell you, it doesn't take much to know what consumables is. It doesn't take much to know a little bit about what entails in office cleaning. But when a customer asks, what would your cleaners do here? And they are blank, you have some problems and some training on your sales department. So
So
before you
what
start,
but
go
you
ahead.
said, you know what happens all the time, right? And I'm gonna use my own experience.
Uh huh.
Again, I am right over here in my house. So I want to do a project over here in my house, like on my wall to put it like new, put my TV on. So
Yeah.
I saw this company on Facebook, and they came over here for the estimate, right?
Yeah.
But in my head, I already knew how much. I knew how much it would cost. I knew the cost of materials and everything right now. So to do this project, the minimum would cost maybe like you put it with the labor about maybe $2,000. But this company wanted $10,000, right? But the guy that came over here, he was somebody that was a salesman, was somebody that they hire in the street to go and do the estimate,
Mhm.
but have no connection with the company at all. And this is what you are talking about. If you want my money, it should be worth of my time. You come over here, talk to
Absolutely.
me, and I'm gonna take you seriously, right? If you send me out those vendors that you hire and you're gonna pay them a commission, I already know that you're gonna overcharge me. It's starting right there, right? I already know that those people sometimes they don't have knowledge of the company at all. They are just there for sale. More they sell, they get paid. I don't want those kind of things. I wanted somebody that come over here. I'm the owner. This it is a different vibe, right?
Absolutely.
It's a different vibe. So don't be lazy. Don't rely in technology. You can use technology as a tool, but at the end of the day, you should be the face of your business, right? And
Absolutely.
when people see, it's like I'm gonna give an example. You see Dallas Cowboy, right? You know who the owner is. He's the face of the brand, and he doesn't do everything, right? But he knows how everything works, and that's the way you're supposed to do. So this environment of changes, you need to be small. Small, no, you need to be smart, right? You have to make sure that you don't substitute tech people to technology. Use technology as a tool, right? Because that's what we wanted, right? Now, another thing that we want to talk about is about management, right? I really feel strongly to talk about management because I see a lot of advertisements on Facebook. Oh my gosh, you're the owner, you do everything, you know what I mean? You burn out and blah blah blah. Look, this is a part of being a business owner, right? You not supposed to it comes when you open a business, you're gonna be doing different things, you have different hats, but if your company is growing, you're still gonna do things, but you have to rely on a team and managers to help you out, right? And how you find out and how you find managers, right? It's a little bit complicated in one sense because you have to have a combination of different skills to order to have somebody as a manager. First of all, manager, it is not a friendship position. Okay? What I'm trying to say it is you don't want to people be there, friends with everybody. Hi, let's go have a drink and whatever the case may be. Why I'm not saying this? Because you work in a company and you see people, managers, being very friendly with a group of people, others gonna feel uncomfortable, right? Because how we gonna take a problem with the person that he's, or she having a friendship with? They're not gonna do anything, not gonna say anything. Somebody as a manager, you can be friendly, but you don't need to be friends with the person that is going to put you in a situation that nobody is comfortable to come to you and talk about anything because you have a strong friendship with members of the team. Also, it is not a dictatorship position. People should not work in fear, right? 80% of our lifetime is working. So you have to create an environment that people should not be threatened. You know, some people like micromanagement. If you don't do this, you're gonna lose your job. Or oh, if you don't do what I want, you're gonna lose your job. People should not work in those kind of environments, right? Be a manager is not a friendship position, it's not a dictatorship position, but it is a leadership position. People should lead by example, right? People usually good leaders, good managers, they have strong communication skills. Man, communication skills is not everybody that has it.
That's
Some
for
people
sure.
some people do not know how to communicate. Some people I know somebody that he thinks that he said something to me, but it was in his mind. He never said it, but he thinks that he communicated about it. So you have to have somebody that have clear communication skills. Why? Because you need to communicate with the people that are going to be working with you. People that also understand the vision of your company, okay, the mission of your company, right? And gonna pass this to other people, right? People that are not afraid to have their hand dirty. Because a lot of times, I'm a manager, I'm not gonna do anything. No, you need to do something, right? You need to show that you care. Another thing that is important to know, like many companies, especially in the corporate area, oh my gosh, it is a management position. I'm gonna promote somebody that is over here for 20 years. Oh, you over here for 20 years, I'm gonna give this position to you. Don't do that mistake. Why? Sometimes people over there for 20 years doesn't mean that that person is loyal to your company. Sometimes people just there because they can't find another job, right? But you have to ask yourself, that person over there that been with the company for 20 years, what have they done to the company? What are their initiatives towards the company? Were this they're just there collecting the bare minimum and get their paycheck, or they gave ideas, they implement ideas, right? That is very important when you choose somebody that does being in a management position. Another thing it is, don't get somebody that is your competitor, because a lot of times people gonna get a position, learn and leave, right? And you need to know what the hearts of the person are when it comes to the company. When you need them, they are there for you, and that's the way we, as business owners, we create systems that allowed us to let them do their job, and we can oversee from the top.
Absolutely, Anna. That was all really good information. And I wanted to also add just a couple things, which that information, what she said, wow, like that was amazing. So let's talk about also, I just want to add a little bit about like what you said, the tools and equipment. So, like the tools and equipment that you need to be able to give them, right? You need to give them the right software to manage your crew, right? You can't expect them to remember every single little detail at every single location. So having a detailed checklist for every building. So making sure when they're doing quality control checks, your quality control manager has a detailed outline covering all these special little things that your client told you to do to make sure it's actually getting done. Trash can on the third floor underneath the cabinet. Making sure Mary's desk, you do not touch her paperwork. Just little things like that that gets communicated to your cleaning crew. I see it way too often where so many American cleaning companies have all Spanish speaking people working for them and they don't speak any Spanish at all, or they don't have any person communicating, right? For my company, we do have a lot of Spanish speaking folks, which they are amazing. We love them. And guess what? We have a bilingual manager to be able to communicate in English and Spanish. So when there is a concern, our office can say, hey, can you communicate, this information at this building to so and so? You have to be able to have that in place. I see it way too often where all these companies are hiring all these Spanish speakers that don't speak, or not even Spanish, or it doesn't matter if most of the time it's Spanish, but if it's a different type of language and they don't speak it and you can't communicate with them. Um, that's number one is making sure you have the right software to use to be able to communicate. Number two is having the right person communicating. And then Anna was talking about hiring the right manager, and she was really talking about, communication's a huge thing, which I couldn't agree more. The communication aspect, seriously, I have some cleaners and some managers that don't communicate enough, and I have some that over communicate. So it really comes down to the person. You can't really train that, really, right? Some people just don't communicate, which Anna kind of touched on. Some people just aren't good communicators, right? So you have to be able to find the communicators that already communicate, right? You might have cleaning technicians that over communicate right now, right? And they could be a future manager, right? I'm always looking at my current cleaning technicians to see, who could be the next manager, right? Because we're always growing. We're always looking for, the next manager to take over a new
Uh,
building or whatever the case is.
Another thing that you said that was important when it comes
Mhm.
to Spanish speaking, right? Uh, it's very important in any business. Sometimes you take in consideration a little bit of cultural background, right? I'm from Brazil, I'm Latino, right? In our culture, we don't like to read, we don't like to write. Everything it is talking, right? But in business, you have to have things in writing, right? And when comes with the people that is cleaning, is the majority is Latino, you have to make sure that the manager there, walk with them, explain to me, this is over here in writing. You understand this? Okay, you sign here. So you pretty much understand you are, killing, a bird with two stones, right? Because you're showing them and obligating also them to read. So you have to take in consideration. Don't just leave manuals for them to read, right? Because they're not gonna they're not gonna read. It's just a cultural thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and that's the thing, you need to get people in your company who understand the people you have working for them, right? That's, like you said. And then also something that we look in for all of our employees, we always promote within. Or we try seeing the people that we already have, and we try to promote the people that we already have. We don't just go off and put a manager ad out. We always look to see if we have someone that has been putting the work in, that's been communicating, that's been doing everything that checks our list, which we have an entire checklist that we use to see who is ready to become a manager, right? There's a lot of people in our company that go over the top, and they're wanting a different position, and they come to us and they're like, I would like to be a manager. I would like, and we absolutely take that into consideration, and we absolutely, we want our company to be a stepping stone for people. We want people to have different opportunities. And I will say that's my favorite part of owning this business is really seeing people grow in our company, right? Having people come in that have worked the same jobs, just being a crew lead, just being in the crew, right? And really, letting us know from the get go when they come in from the interview, our other companies I've worked at, we really haven't had any improvement. We really haven't had any, sense of, ownership or sense of, being able to move up in the ranks of the company or, become a manager. So with our company, I really like to see some of these people come in, they start off as just a technician, but they show their self. They show their self in a way that proves that they're ready to be a manager or proves that they're ready to be in some kind of management position, which I actually just had a meeting yesterday with my two supervisors, my office manager, and one of our technicians that we're going to be promoting to a crew lead. And, she has constantly showed up. She constantly shows up on the time. She never calls out. She's always helping out with anything that we need, or she's always picking up extra shifts if somebody calls out. She's just one of those. She's just one of those A players that is always willing to go above and beyond.
But
So
it's
that
good. It is good that also you said something very important that you create in your company. Because, people, it's like a relationship, like people, you always wanna to grow, right? And if you give this space for people to grow and you have managers that inspire people, to do their best, that is gonna reflect on you, on your company. right? Because you value the people that is working for you. Yes, sometimes doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people just, they don't have good, work ethic, right? Work ethic, something that you can teach nobody. They learn from home, right?
No,
But you cannot do anything about it. But those ones that are over there, showing up, do things, why not, if they fit with all the criterias, why not give them the opportunity for them just to grow, right?
absolutely. And you just touched on it, and I didn't touch on that because I was talking about how everything was so great. But yes, there is some times, and I still do have some employees that do not want, and they tell me that from the get-go, they do not want anything more than just to be a cleaning technician or just being a crewman, whatever the case is. So I do have a mix. I will say some of the girls are really happy just being in the crew, and I have some that want to move up and move forward, and they show that to us though. They show that in their actions. And another thing I really like that you just said is talking about the way we treat our employees. And I think we're going to end off with talking about this because this is such a great topic to end off on. Employees stay at companies that they're valued at, right? Employees will always come, they'll always go. Sometimes, you treat an employee so good and they still leave. It's the nature of the cleaning business, the nature of any business, right? Someone finds a better opportunity here, whatever the case is. So, with that being said, is you've got to pour into your employees. You've got to treat them well. You can't just some of these, especially in the cleaning industry, the most looked down upon industry. You've got to make your company a glorified cleaning company, right? For my company, we don't just see it as cleaning as just like, oh, we're coming to pull the truck. We see our company as we're an essential part of your business, and we are a partner keeping your business clean, disinfected, and ready for the next business day. That is what we believe in. And so many people don't understand. They treat their employees like they're garbage. And Anna can talk about a little bit about this as well. Some of these cleaning companies, they don't care about the cleaners. They don't care about anything. They are just like, oh, next one. At least with our company is we want to see people grow in our company. We want to see people go to the next level. And that is what you need to emphasize to your employees. We don't want people just to stay in the same spot. If you want to stay in the same spot and you're comfortable with that, then we're okay with that too. But if you want to grow with us, we want to know from the get-go when you come in for your first interview, so we're able to nurture you and guide you to that next step of what it would be in our company, to grow with us. And I
I,
always tell everyone we're growing. We're a growing company. So that is something so awesome too to be a part of. Like to see, I have some technicians that's been with me for 5, 6, 7 years. They've seen our company grow from only doing 30, 40, 50 contracts to doing over 150 contracts. So it's really, really cool to have those people in your company. And I want to
and see
also,
you grow.
right. And I also want to add one other thing before I let Anna take the mic. Um, you know, Unfortunately, sometimes in business, you have to let go. Sometimes in business, some people are only meant to be in your company for a little while, and sometimes they might not be the one to say they want to leave, but it's time. And unfortunately, I have to. I'm actively doing this with one of our employees right now. She's been with me for over 6 months now, and her work has just declined over the last little while. And we've had meetings, we've had sit down meetings, about the complaints that we've been receiving and the quality checks that we've been getting back. And unfortunately, it's been now 3 months since the meeting, and stuff still hasn't been improved. We've had a meeting each month to talk about things that are still not getting done, and unfortunately, it's still not getting done. So sometimes you have to let go. In a company, you have to let go sometimes. And I know it's hard. It actually was really hard for me because I have personal connections. Not really personal. I guess you could say personal connections, but I'm not. I know a lot about our people that work for us. We're a very close knit company. We all know each other, and I know a lot about their families. I find out, when you talk to people in the company, or people tell you things like, things. So it's hard sometimes when stuff about people, and some, but like the whole story of it is, you can't. Business is business, and if they're not doing their job correctly, you unfortunately have to let go sometimes. And that's why I always tell people hire slow, fire fast. Unfortunately, in this business, you're going to have the good ones and you're going to have the bad ones, and the ones that are meant to stay in your company are meant to stay, right? But it all comes down to the leadership team as well. You've got to treat your people well, no matter how terrible that they are. Sometimes you've got to, treat them well. Anyways, I hope that helped. So, Anna, do you have anything to add? Mhm. Absolutely. Anna, I think we touched on three very important topics today. So like we both been saying, we have gotten quite a few messages and we wanted to share, our real life experience. And as you can tell, me and Anna, we tell people how it is. We're talking this is the way we're talking to you is the same way we would talk to our cleaning technicians, the president of a multi-million dollar company. We talk the same way to every single person, and that just shows you what kind of people we are. But with that being said, I hope that this video was very helpful to a lot of you. So like I said, a lot of you've reached out and asked questions in regards to how is AI actually helping. People have been asking us management things, and people have been asking, do you take the small or the medium contract? So I hope that this helped. Anna, thanks so much. Anna takes time out of her day to come with us and make these videos, and she even takes time to answer your guys' phone calls, and she does it for free on her own time. Come on, guys. You got to just give her a round of applause. Thank you so much, Anna. We really do appreciate you. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, guys, thanks again, and we will see you in the next video. As always, comment down below what video you want to see next. Okay, bye, guys.